Well, hello and welcome to Talking Horses. We're here to discuss the Dubai World Cup in the Cube, the sports bar at the end of the magnificent Meydan Stadium. Feel like I was only here last night. Gary, were you here last night?
I can't remember. I think so. It's all a bit hazy.
Yeah, we left the World Cup draw to come here, and some of us had a drink, some of us threw red wine over my cock, didn't we?
Again, it's all hazy. I've got all the wrist photographic evidence of that, unfortunately.
That's the only way you're going to get a tip, isn't it? What do you fancy? Yeah. Well, we're here to give you our thoughts on the races. I'm joined by Mark Monkhouse from www.racinguae.com.
Right.
Stato, as we call him. We've got Pat Cummins all the way from America, Dubai Race Night. As one person in America told me recently, Pat is the foremost expert in America on Dubai racing, and as Pat told me, is the only expert on Dubai racing in America. We've got Gary Chatwell all the way from the Dubai Racing Channel. So you're the one from the Dubai Racing Channel that actually knows something, yeah? Apparently, that's why we've invited.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So we're going to give you our thoughts. We'll go straight into it. Race number 1, which is the Kahayla Classic. Jason Ford, who's not with us this year, nailed on 10-1 winner last year, told us Fred Texas. Has he got a chance again? Mark, you can start us off. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Courses for courses, you know. He liked the Tabata track last year. He's had a couple of preparation races, quite recently actually, in Doha. Comes over here. I know they're quite full and they're going to have another repeat of a win, hopefully. Olivier Pellier taken over from Ardra de Vries. I'll give him a big chance.
Okay, it's interesting that Olivier Pellier has taken over, and I was on the phone to Jason earlier while he was screaming in some words at Aladia, and he said that he thinks Andre de Vries could get his 3rd win in 4 years. Pat, what do you think?
Relative to Fred Texas, I don't think he's the same horse, and had some communication on Twitter with Sheikh Johan months ago, and he said Fred Texas was not coming back for this race. So I thought it was a little surprising that he is here. And when you look at the Qatari form, he just did not seem the same, and I'm sure they've trialed him and whatnot, but look, at the same time, Sheikh Johan runs 3 runners in the race, and if I had to fancy one over the other, I'd probably fancy Rich Frenchman, with the local rider who was entered here for the Maktoum Challenge, scratched out, ran in Doha, and is going to come in. But I think you have to look at the pace setup, and I'm a pretty pace-centric tipster and form reader, and I think there's just a lot of pace in this race. So I think the race is going to run through a ream out on the front end, and Ahmed Echtebi is going to go as long as he can, and isn't going to be the only one to go out and I think make up the running. The former American-based Arabian Junior Johnson is going to go as well, coming off of a year layoff, and I think that requires you to start looking at the closers.
Gary?
Yeah, I think when we go back and look both at Fred Texas' recent runs in Doha, he was given a quite frankly awful ride in the Emir's Sword, but he was pretty disappointing the last day on dirt. They don't have too many races on the dirt out there. Most of them are on the turf, and he just didn't pick up at all that day. I think I'd probably be against him for all that I respect. Olivier Pellier, who's got a brilliant record in this race. Gets on him. We've got obviously his full brother Junior Johnson and Arima. We're going to set this up as Pat quite rightly points out, for a closer, and I want to take a chance with the horse who's got the single best piece of form, Al Maman Monlau, who's had a couple of prep runs over in France, and before that he actually beat Fred Texas in the big race they have on Art Day. Okay, Fred Texas had a wretched draw that day, but before that he'd beaten him before anyway, and he's beaten a Ream in France before as well. He was second in the French style behind Tabarak, who won the Emir's Sword in Qatar a few weeks ago. That's the most single best piece of form on offer by some way, because he should have beaten him that day, having gone back and watched that race. So I'm going to take an each way chance on him.
Well, I know Ty Gaucher is disappointed not to be on Serapin. He wanted to ride that instead of Junior Johnson, but the owner wanted him on the new horse, the new young recruit to the stable. I think Serapin's got good form here and could challenge. Fred Texas at his best form will be definitely competing. I was chatting to Mark earlier, and I think, you know, the heart rule in the head, and especially with the pace that's going to be in the race, I think Versac, PY, could suddenly become involved because it comes off the pace. And I'd love to see it win for a win. You know, more than anything, I'd love to see it come home for a win. Who deserves a bit of change of luck this year. So it's an interesting race. Strangely, all year, when you've talked about betting prospects, if you go back to last season, you'd have pretty much nailed on the Pure Arabian race as your banker of the meeting. I wouldn't touch this with a barge pole betting wise. I wouldn't actually have a penny on this race. I'd rather watch it and cheer something home.
I'd agree with you. Personally, with the prices that we've got currently, I wouldn't be getting involved. Obviously, they're subject to a bit of change, I would imagine, but at the prices, I wouldn't have a bet.
A ream at 4-1 is more of a lay than a back.
I don't think there's any way a Ream sees out this running with the likely pressure, although I think it is an interesting point what you said, and I didn't realize that about Tig on Junior Johnson. It makes you slightly question if they might not try to ever so slightly change tactics and sit.
Yeah.
If it's Tig's probably best chance of the night.
I think Tig probably he did definitely want to be on Seraphim from what I've heard, from the rumours that's going around, and I think Seraphim would have a chance. But let's have your tips. Come on, let's mark. You can, first one on the board, give us a winner.
I'm going to go for a repeat winner. I know he's been away and he's got beat, but he came here with only one person really fancying him last year and done the business on the track. The track's important, don't forget that. So Fred Texas for me.
Okay, Pat.
3 from 4 in the Quinella. Versac PY is my selection because it's a pace play, and he has what I think is a really plumb draw in a race that will draw him into it. I think he'll be able to save plenty of ground. Versac in the Kahayla.
Okay, Gary?
Despite the draw, I'm on that.
Okay. Nobody, strangely enough, has mentioned Nishan, who beat Versac.
Who are we? What are we doing here?
And purely on that form, I would love to see Versac win, but I think you've got to give Nishan a chance. So just because you've gone for Versac, I don't think anybody would.
I think it's
I'd
the
go
draw.
for Nishan.
The draw on Nishan is what has taken me off of him, because I think he will get the wider trip, whereas Versac, a bit wide, closing more recently, has that nice steady pocket spot. That is when I was doing my form, that tipped me over to Versac.
Well, I hope you're right, because I would love to cheer it on for Owen. That's race number 1 on Dubai World Cup night. Click on the link below. We'll tell you about race number 2.